Field of 68 After Dark, Sirius XM, Channel 84, presented by Bet Rivers, presented by Bracket Fanatics. Trace Jackson Davis goes for 29 points as the Indiana Hoosiers beat Wyoming in the NCAA tournament. First four, Indiana advancing on the 66-58 win. So now IU will meet St. Mary's in a 5-12 encounter. All right. Many of us had Indiana winning this game. It's not a major shock. What'd you learn from the Hoosiers tonight, good or bad, as they move forward to the field of 64?
I think they're good at making teams uncomfortable. Like I haven't watched Indiana play a beautiful basketball game. I've watched a lot of Indiana the last 2 weeks between the Big Ten tournament and now today. Like I haven't sat back like, man, that was flowing. That was, great execution. But they do a good job just kind of mucking it up and getting teams out of their comfort zone. Hunter Maldonado is never comfortable in this game. And I think for Wyoming, it's so important for him to be in rhythm, for them to be in rhythm. And I thought they did the same thing to Illinois last week in the game that they won. They did a really good job in the second half with Dickinson. Dickinson never felt comfortable. He had a good first half, and then I thought they just kind of brought the intensity. I think the biggest thing for them is when they play with a high level of intensity, they're just hard to play against. And, when you have Trace and you have XJ, and I think the guy who was really, really impactful today was Geronimo in the second half. I always liked the kid. He was 6'6", he's athletic. He can guard multiple positions, just kind of bring something different to the table for them. But he had a really nice ball game today. And again, he's not going to be someone who makes it a pretty basketball game. But this team is tough as nails, and that plays well in March.
Yeah, I think to touch off Kevin and just listening to Mike talk, I said I listened to him today on an interview. I think they're okay with mucking it up. I think they're okay with who they are. I think right now, and this is what this time of year is about in any sport, is confidence, playing well of late. They played in a game where everybody probably thought after the Rutgers game that they're going to go to Purdue and probably get beat double figures. If you're on Bet Rivers, you're probably taking that bet. Okay. But they go there and they play extremely well. And then they go to the Big Ten tournament when they had to deliver, and they played a terrific game against Illinois, a terrific game against Michigan. And then they lose to Iowa in a game that they had an opportunity to really close and win that game. They're confident. They're playing well. And I think they've got, a swagger to them to where when you have a guy like Trace Jackson Davis who can deliver on the biggest stage and is a tough cover, I wouldn't be surprised to see them beat St. Mary's like I touched on and have a chance to get by UCLA or Akron.
This is Field of 68 After Dark, Sirius XM Channel 84. We want to welcome our audience in, all of you who just listened to Indiana beat Wyoming to advance out of the first four and into the field of 64. Indiana will take on St. Mary's in now a 5-12 game on Thursday. All right. IU wins this game. Coach Prohm just said he feels like that they could beat St. Mary's. Here's what comes to mind when I look at St. Mary's. Look, St. Mary's ain't out athleting Indiana. And this is now a big test for Matthias Tass of Estonia, playing for St. Mary's, leading them in scoring and rebounding this year. This is a big, big test. He hasn't seen Trace Jackson Davis this season, a player like
Drew
that.
Timme.
He saw Drew Timme. That's not Trace Jackson Davis.
Saw Chet Holmgren.
Not Trace Jackson Davis. You're telling me you'd rather have Drew Timme than Trace Jackson Davis?
Absolutely.
I disagree.
Wow.
I disagree with you.
Wow. Drew Timme was the National Player of the Year favorite coming into the season. He's an All-American.
Okay, that was then. This is now.
Drew Timme's the best post scorer in the sport.
I think St. Mary's would be more comfortable. What I'm saying is I think St. Mary's would be more comfortable playing Drew Timme because they know him. They've played him. Trace Jackson Davis offers a totally different dimension to the matchup. I'm talking of it as St. Mary's here. I'm looking at the matchup. The tournament's all about matchups.
Yeah, because you got to look at St. Mary's situation too,
they know
from coaching perspective. is it's kind of like if you're in a league ever where you have double buys in conference tournaments, it's like, all right, we got to prepare for two teams. So their tape and practice time is a little bit split between Indiana, Wyoming. And now they have a 1-day true prep tomorrow, though they've probably touched base on both teams. Now tomorrow they got to go all in on Indiana. And like he's saying, when it's your first time seeing different coverages, different players, I think that does make a difference.
Yeah, I mean,
you guys can keep your argument going with Jackson Davis
well,
and Timmy. I like that.
I just think it's unique. I don't think St. Mary's is accustomed to playing a player like Trace Jackson Davis. Now, here's the problem with Indiana. They don't have the efficiency offensively that St. Mary's possesses. They don't. St. Mary's is going to shoot the basketball better here, I think, regardless of who wins the game. They're probably just going to from the perimeter. Tommy Kuzi will lead that effort. The difference is Indiana able to get in transition? Can they get dribble penetration? I'm with you on the fact that if I had to pick at the end of the day and I'm looking at both players, yeah, I think with the rest of the country, I'm probably leaning Timmy. I'm talking from a matchup standpoint.
John, you can't flip right in the middle. 2 minutes ago, you got Trace Jackson Davis.
I told you in this matchup. That was my point.
I also will say this. The one thing that Toss has done a great job of for St. Mary's this year, and we talked about it right after they beat Gonzaga at the end of February, was he does a great job of just being physical with opposing bigs. I mean, he is such a big, lumbering body. And I saw it in now invitational early in the year when he was dealing with high major guys. I saw it obviously when they played against Gonzaga. Like he does a great job of just walling up and making it difficult. I think
a minute.
He should be able to do enough.
I'm looking back at the Associated Press All-America teams from today. Jackson Davis didn't get honored.
Trace didn't have Trace had an up and down year. This team was sweating the bubble like 2 weeks ago. I mean, Trace had some quiet games in February, man. He really did.
But I tell you what, as you look going ahead and going further, Trace Jackson Davis can make himself a lot of money these next couple of weeks.
Oh, yes, he can.
And you get 29 when you're the only game on TV, and now you're going to play in St. Mary's in 2 days, and you get 29 again, they're going to look at you a lot different now. That's just how it works.
Man.
Hoosiers over the Gales.
You like Hoosiers over the Gales?